Yeah, that won't help. Hello guys, hello. We are live, Owen. Let me quickly set up all the displays and everything, guys. Sorry, I am like 10 minutes late. I tried to finish dinner before the stream, so I could actually concentrate properly on the stream. Please forgive me. I'm gonna talk you through absolutely everything to make sure that we all understand each other and we get the most benefit out of what we are trying to achieve here. So just bear with us. We're getting a couple of things right. Owen's struggling with his scenery, and I think he just discovered the problem, so he's going to fix that too. Okay, so we are going to recreate the flight that I did yesterday. I did the stream on Twitch, and I know a lot of guys that come to Twitch don't necessarily watch on YouTube, and the difference also is if we do it on YouTube, we can keep it. I don't like the idea of exporting from Twitch into YouTube and then we lose all the comments that was in the chat and all these kind of things. It's not the same. So I'm literally going to recreate the flight. I will start on IVAO, but if the ATC interferes, I'm going to disconnect from IVAO, and it's not to be disrespectful towards them in any way. It is because I'm on a mission. I need to look at the ILS issue. We had an issue with the ILS yesterday, so I can't go and change my approach and my actual runway and things just because they want to. The wind is 5 knots, so it's absolutely irrelevant. But just now they want to change something because they feel like it, and then we're going to override them. So just bear that in mind, guys, if you're flying with me. I might drop off, not guaranteed, but might. Okay. So what we want to do is let's start from the very beginning. Okay. Let me get edge captured. Doesn't want to let me find it. Edge. There we go. Okay, so this is where it all starts. What you guys are seeing here is the Skymatix virtual airline. Sorry, I had to stop talking because my chat icon is there above and over the Skymatix airline name. So this is what it looks like. We are going to fly from what's that, Cusco? That's Cusco down to Alto. That airport is more than 10,000 feet above sea level physically. All right. We're going to check the temperatures. Then we're going to show you the actual what do we call it? Density altitude. All right, for that airport, we're going to do the same. This airport is physically above 13,000 feet above sea level, and last night when we landed there, the altitude was given to us at 16,500 due to density altitude. So all of these things have an influence. All of these things are, as in the real world, it will have an influence. The Zibo Mod will respond to it, and there are certain things that we need to do to make sure that we stay alive. Some of the things I cannot guarantee it's fully implemented yet, so it might be either not implemented or using a kind of a workaround. I'm not going to guarantee any of that, but I'm going to show you the procedures as if absolutely everything is working. I did notice last night once we did the hit the top of descent, after a while in the descent, the aircraft incorrectly gave an altitude warning as if the pressurization didn't work. So I did log it with Zibo. I haven't heard from him today. He's obviously busy or resting or something. So you can look at that, but that is about the only thing. The other thing that I forgot last night, which I'm really going to concentrate hard on, is to remember the bleeds off during takeoff and during the landing phase. And I will talk you through it step by step as we go on. The idea is to use the APU to give the air and the pressurization to the cabin while we switch the two bleed airs on the engines off so that we have maximum power to actually utilize the thin air and the runway length that is given to us. Okay. There is also one other thing that is pertaining to the VA guys that is not necessarily going to help you guys that are not part of the VA, but I'm still going to talk about it, and you'll understand why we are talking about the numbers and the load and things that we want to carry. Because even though these runways, both of them, that one is not, that one as far as I can remember is like 11,155, and this one is like 11,500 feet. Just because you've got 11,500 feet, trust me, at this altitude, it's short. It's like landing almost on an aircraft carrier. And because of terrain, because of the plateau that this one airport is on, it almost looks like an aircraft carrier. It feels like an aircraft carrier, and you need to be careful, otherwise you're going to end up crashed somewhere. So that's a bit of the background. In terms of the operation, I'm going to show you now on the actual charts and stuff. You can only take off from runway 10. There's only one way out, and that's east from Cusco. If you go the other way, you're not going to make it. There's a mountain in front of you, and it's just death. So we're going to take off east regardless of what the wind is doing, and we've decided on taking an RNAV departure there. There is a certain gradient. I'll show you guys. I think it's 350 meters per minute or 350 foot a minute that you have to climb, minimum climb gradient. So we'll get to that. I am quickly just going to go to page 2, and let's just quickly select an aircraft and then go to page 2 here, and then we can start bringing things together to make sense to you. Good evening to everybody on Discord that has just joined. Good evening, Sentinel. It's nice to have you here. Good evening, Steve. Excellent. That's wonderful to hear. That's wonderful to hear. Right, so I'm going to quickly just copy the route here from Navigraph in the background. We're going to paste it in here as is. Then we're going to make sure we're going to choose runway 10 there and runway 10 there. Right, this is the information we're going to send through to SimBrief. Okay, now what I want to mention to the guys, when you do your planning in the VA, you can press, once you get to this stage, or even before you start entering stuff would actually be better, because otherwise you have to redo it. If you want to change your passenger load and the general cargo load to basically influence your total estimated payload, what you need to do in the VA is press F5. Every time you press F5, it will change these figures. Now, we discussed it briefly this morning. We recommend, when you do a flight like this, because of this density altitude issue, not to have more than like 150 passengers. I had 153 passengers last night, and at one point in time I started worrying about this runway being too short. So in terms of what we want to do here, it's recommended to just keep the load low. All right, so if you get like me now, I've got 136, that's perfect. I'm going to generate this, but then I want to quickly show you guys how to edit this if you want to edit the passenger load. So you can either press F5 until you get the correct load and then do the setup, or you can do what I'm doing now and then go back and edit it. The facility is in the VA website, where you can literally go back to SimBrief, edit the values, and then bring it back in here. So if we look here, there is a button called Edit OFP. It literally opens SimBrief for you, right? Which means that you can literally now go and alter the values here. All right, so we've got 136. I'm going to, just for the heck of it, I'm going to make it 140. All right, cargo, I'm even going to drop that. Let's just make that 1.3. Right, so what you need to do once you've edited this detail, you need to generate a new flight. Okay, because it needs to parse everything, calculate, do whatever it needs to do. And then what we're going to do is we're going to click this button at the bottom here, download updated OFB and close. So that's what we're going to do. You'll see it's now updated. It's busy updating here in the website. All right, so it's updated now. If we actually look at the OFB now, you'll see now we've got 140 and 1.3. So guys, please remember that we are probably going to fly a couple of these flights, and you're probably going to do some of them as well, and this is just a tip from our side. Please make sure that you are not too heavy. Okay. All right, so that takes care of the initial for us. Let's just quickly have a look. The flight level that we've been given is 350. So I'm going to quickly bring Active Sky on screen here, show you how I do all of these things. So we have 350. We're going to refresh, and then we can obviously go to the map, SPZO. There we go. Once Explain is running, it's not fired up yet. We can obviously then lock to the aircraft and also make use of the flight watch audio for the METAR information. Okay, so let's look at the route to give you guys a little bit more background information. This is the Cusco airport. We are going to take off on runway 10, and we're going to fly east, as we mentioned, because of the problem that exists with taking off from runway 28. There is a huge mountain here. Once we've spawned in, and if I can remember, I'll show you. I mean, we can have a nice look around there. You'll see the terrain is massive. It is very, very high. There are all kinds of problems if you don't fly right. Then I just want to quickly see, where was that other note about the gradient that we had to take off with? Remember we read about it yesterday. Was it this airport? So I did 2 flights. Paul, can you remember if it was this airport or the previous one?
Would it be on the SID chart?
I don't know. Let's have a look. Ah, there we go. Yes, you're correct. That is where we did see it. All right. So here it actually tells us we need to do 380 foot per nautical mile. So it's not a per minute or a per second thing. I apologize. I mentioned it incorrectly earlier. It's 380 foot per nautical mile that you're going to have to climb. You'll see all these little waypoints are very close together, and you obviously need to step through, make sure that this thing is programmed properly. You'll see when we take off, the aircraft is very sluggish. It is like driving a bus compared to a little Austin Mini. Yeah, it's different, totally different when you do this kind of takeoff. So you want to be at the right place at the right time, and actually fly this properly. Thank you for that, Paul. All right. You wanted to mention something?
I was going to say pleasure, but I'm also eating at the moment.
Ah, right, okay.
But I was just going to say that it took me quite a while to get this density altitude thing into my head.
Okay.
And I think, you know, what's the big deal about trying to take off at 10,000 feet? The plane flies perfectly well at 10,000 feet. And the final thing that got it into my head was that it's the altitude that the plane feels that it's at.
Yes.
So if the air is really hot and it's literally perhaps only half the sea level density, you've only got half the oxygen going into the engines that you can use to burn your fuel.
Exactly.
And half the air under the wing that provides the lift. So when I finally realised that, it kind of sunk in.
Yeah. So it is exactly what you say. It's what the plane feels like. It's experiencing. It's what it feels like. So the thin air, the lack of oxygen, all those things, it is different taking off and landing in it than it is to fly through it. It's a completely different ball game. So let me show you. Let me give you an indication of what we're talking about here. So there is 10,860 feet. This is above sea level for this airport. All right, 10,860. Now, if we go to this website, I'm going to quickly put the link to this website into the chat so you guys can go check it out. All right, there you go. we can actually now go to, where's it, density altitude, and we can go SPZO. SPZO. There we go. We click on OK. It's now going to check everything for us. All right, so there it's flashing density altitude. That is what it's got in its database, but that is what it's calculated. So even though the chart is published at 10,860, right? Currently, we can see there in the highlighted bit, it feels like it's at 13,505 feet. So there's like, give or take, 3,000 feet difference. And that will also influence the performance of the aircraft. Steve, I see something happened there. I don't know. I can't see what you typed. Be careful of full stops. Let me quickly see if I can see what you did somewhere there. Oh yeah, between lift and did, you had a full stop, and the stupid AI recognizes that as a URL, and then it blocks you. If you can just retype that, because I don't think I can bring it back. I can't unhide it. So just retype it for the guys. I'll quickly read it. It says, yep, reproduced combustion and lift, or reduced combustion and lift. Did you use the airport authos, or did you do my, no, this is stuff I made myself. Some of the airports here did come with authos, and I did use some of them, but I think this one I made myself. Okay, so that's the story behind that story. All right, so now we've got 13,505. Let's just, for the heck of it, let's get this thing out of the way. Let's quickly go look at the other one. All right, so now we're going to fly to an airport. This one's even higher, 13,314. All right, so if we go back to that thing, I'll bring it back on screen just now. SLLP. While it's searching, I can bring it back up. So now you have a situation, look there, it's going to feel like that airport, which is published at 13,314, is going to feel like we are landing at 16,113 at the current temperature, atmospherics and all. All right, so this is all part of the challenge, and because of this, we want to utilize the bleeds off takeoff and landing procedure, where we're going to then channel the pressure from the APU into the cabin to make sure that people don't die there, while we're going to switch off the bleeds of the engine so that we have maximum power in the engines for both takeoff and in the event of a go-around. And this is all stuff we're going to tell you. Now, the fun thing about this airport where we're going to start, because it is above 10,000 feet, you are going to get an altitude horn. The moment that altitude horn is able to cry, it's going to cry. All right. And basically what I was told a few years ago when Jorge was still here with us, he explained it to us that when you operate at an airport like this, you have to be on oxygen. The crew, the pilot and co-pilot, have to be on oxygen for 30 minutes before breaks off, to make sure that they do not have performance issues in their bodies, in their minds, and so on. So what we're going to do is we're going to utilize the oxygen mask. You're going to hear the in the background, okay, and we're going to make sure that we don't pass out, because those of you that have ever tried it, you know that if X-plane detects depressurization above 10,000 foot, you usually get that hypoxia, the screen goes dark and all these things. So we're going to try and simulate it a little bit more real tonight. That's the only reason we're going to put that oxygen mask on, just for the effect. Okay. I think that's about it. I said we're going to fly at about 35,000 feet. You'll see some of the mountains here are more than 30,000 feet high. The terrain radar peaks will show for a long time, then disappear and come back. It's amazing. Somebody in the stream last night actually lives here. He was actually in, I think he said Cusco last week. So he's got personal experience, and he was telling us about this lake. This lake, it's the highest lake that's navigable in the world, whatever that means. It sounds impressive, so I'm just telling you what he said. So this is a big lake. If you didn't know any better and you were in the correct perspective, you'll probably think you're in the sea. Okay.
Yeah, Nico, one thing,
Mm.
the departure, huh?
Mm.
Do you use only that one chart, the 10.3A, or do you always also put that ILMOX transition chart in?
Mm-mm. Well, I didn't make a note of it. It's all in the FMC for me. So for me, it was important to show the guys here, and that's why I marked it. Just what we're going to look at.
That's I've got the Foxtrot.
Okay, hold a second.
I think you have the Foxtrot as well, the ILMOX departure.
All right, let's quickly have a look there. See. ILMOX. Is it the 3 Foxtrot or 3 Golf?
Yeah, 3 Foxtrot. Yeah.
Let's have a look. Okay, this is obviously the initial. No, it's not. We're going to get that from the first chart, then we get to there. I didn't really look at this one because, like I said, everything is pre-programmed.
So the Tango Alpha Uniform Juliet Alpha, and then 3F. So that's chart.
Give me the number, because this doesn't look right.
It's 10.3F.
10.3F. Okay,
10,
that's the
3F.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. All right. ILMOX transition. Let me just have a look here.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. And because the departure looks
ILMOX. It's ILMOX. It's the ILMOX departure. Okay, so that one is actually the incorrect one. I picked the wrong one then earlier. Sorry, guys. Apologies. Hello, Eugene. And Albapina. Correct. Good. Sorry.
So he checks if you're on that waypoint, and then he lets you go.
Yes. Actually, that's perfect then. Okay, that's 100%. Okay, so then we are ready to fire up, explain and go fly. Let me close this down. Oh, you know what? I wanted to do this still. Let's pick this up from the charts over here quickly. Navigograph. Just refresh this. Okay, now we've got the ILMOX in here as well. Okay, so we need to look at airport elevation 13314. Hello, Siddharth. How are you doing? Long time no see. Well, you're sitting next to me. Sorry, but I'm talking about what you're typing. Anyway, welcome, guys. Okay, temperature. What's the temperature there? Let's quickly go have a look. Temperature there is 18. Right, so at least now we've got the deviation temperature as well. Right. Let us go start up explain. Sid, are you happy with the talk through? I promised you the talk through, so I hope you're happy with it.
Yes, it's great. I was really looking forward. So carry on, Nico.
Good stuff. Guys, while it's firing up, I just want to quickly bring something else to your attention as well, but I just want to quickly get the spawning going. I just want to show you my training checklist and remind you guys how to get it, because I'm going to use the procedures from there. So SPZO gate A4. Right, so for those of you that are familiar with my private hangar / Google Drive, the link is below the video. If you click on show more, you'll get the link there. You will find a training checklist that I compiled a long time ago. And I've been keeping it updated, and now I see I've got the wrong one in my actual own list here. Let me get the latest one for myself as well. I updated this checklist. I've got the actual date here. I'll give it to you now. September 21st was the last time I updated this checklist. Now, this checklist obviously is very extensive. We use it for training. If you want to know the flows and things like that, it's good to use for a few months, and then you can go on to the real pilot ones. But this basically tells us everything, and you'll see here, starting from page 17, the after start checklist. This is the first indication that things change. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to keep the APU, you leave it on. It's not going to be switched off. As we read through now, you'll see different headings. So additional runway entry procedures. This is for a short field or above 10,000 feet. This gives you the actual recipe for how to do the C form on your pressurization system, where you have to open and close certain of those switches to get the desired effect, to give the APU pressure to the cabin while getting rid of the engine bleeds without killing anybody in the process. So this will be the first major one. Just before we go on to the runway, we're going to not use the normal procedure there. In fact, we're going to use some of it, but we're going to basically append it with this at the end. Okay. It also then takes us to the after takeoff checklist for above 10,000, and you'll see it's fairly normal, but where you use a C form, I'll show you the C that I mean. It's the alphabetical C. Right, so where you start at the top right and then work anti-clockwise in the beginning, you now need to start at the bottom right and then work clockwise back. Otherwise, you're going to literally destroy your APU. If you do this in the wrong order, you cannot have the bleed air on engine number 1 running at more than idle power. While the APU bleed is on, it will simply blow it. So that's very, very important in real world that you do this thing in the correct order, and I've basically replicated this thing here. Then as we continue, you will also see the same thing. I did not make this red. I noticed this afternoon when me and Uncle John were talking. But you have a descent checklist for above 10,000. So there are a couple of things to do. And over here, this is exactly what I mean. This is now the opposite of what... Sorry, I'm talking now. This is not this one yet. This is switching it on again. And then later on, you're going to have to do the opposite. And I think that is the one that I forgot to put in here. So anyway, it's the same procedure times 2. If I don't find it here, I'll have to, edit this and get it in there as well. I see I didn't. So it starts basically after your transition altitude or 18,000. If you want to just buy time, just do it after 18,000. Then you do the same thing. You start your APU and you start with the C form. So after you've landed, you can then reverse everything. All right. So I'm going to talk you through that as things go on. Right. I just want to make sure that Zibo is working. So I'm going to just reload.
Have you talked about that approach chart already?
No. we've just touched on the principle of the pressurization system, what we need to do. While that's happening, let's quickly have a look at that. Okay, so we're going to use the ILS. It's actually not just a localizer. It's supposed to be an ILS, but last night we...
ILS is Instrument Landing System.
Yes, Hakan. Hello, Hakan. So anyway,
Hello.
Hakan, bear with me for a second. Welcome. Make yourself at
Roger
home.
that. Hello.
Right, so basically what we're going to do is we're going to use that as a transition. ELAKO, we're going to use the Y for runway 10. And no, we don't want to change it. We want to actually have a look at it. So we're going to come in from there. There's going to be a bit of a DME arc there. This is a short one, and then we're going to go on to the finals. The trick is to be at 15,000 feet there. So we have to just manage everything to be there. Look at our decision altitude. It's freaking high. It's 13,331. It's gonna be a doozy, but we're just gonna hang on. So one of the things you need to look out for, obviously, is speed. You're gonna have to pay special attention to speed. Okay, so we'll talk through it as we get closer as well there. Right, Hakan. Okay, now I'm not so formal and serious right now. How are you doing?
I'm fine. Watching you.
Great stuff. Great stuff.
What about you, sir? Are you okay?
Yeah. I'm just trying to educate my people here again. That's that, came around to have a look at what we're doing. So
Good. I'm also refreshing myself
Good
here.
day, sir.
good stuff.
Please start the ACARs.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So let's go look at this OFP of ours. Bitpen, good evening. Hello, Akbar. Righto.
Ground flight deck hose is connected and starting refueling.
Right. One of the next things that I want to show you. I'm also waiting on Zibo just for clarity on this, but currently, because we are above 10,000 foot, all right, our doors are locked. So you've got one or two options. You either start the APU, get the pressurization system going, or you can actually, and that's the wrong button, you can actually just start the ASU, and then you can quickly just configure the pressurization system. All right, that's one's not helping us. All right, so we just quickly have to get, you'll see there we are busy increasing the pressure. So the pressure differentiation between inside and outside is being taken care of right now. The one thing I wanted to do as well is just quickly get the power on. Right, you'll see there that valve is opening now. Look, it's rising. And like I said earlier, if it's not happy, it's going to sound that horn very quickly to tell us there's a problem. Right, so what I'm going to also do is just, man, not tonight. Quickly get the ACARs, not ACARs, the IRS is going. Alright, the fact that I started the pressurization system might actually count in my favor now that the altitude horn might not go off. We'll have a look-see. But typically, if the altitude horn goes off, you know why. We are above 10,000 feet and things are just different. Alright, so we have to wait until we have the correct pressurization. While we wait, let's continue. Oh, come on. There we go, there's the altitude horn. So like I said earlier in the stream, the moment it's ready to cry, it's gonna cry because of this altitude. Right, that brings me also to something else I mentioned, which I also have not done yet. There you can now see your cabin altitude is a problem. For those of you that do not know yet, this oxygen mask is actually modeled, and you switch it on by clicking in that spot over there, and you should start to hear the breathing pretty soon. There you go. There you can hear the breathing. I'm just going to kill the altitude horn.
Fuel is all loaded up and you are good to go.
There we go, Bjorn. 100% with you on that one. So anyway, it's crying. We killed the horn. The pressurization system is slowly equalizing, and at some point in time, there we go. Now it's going to allow us to actually open the doors. Alright, so if you guys get a situation like this, now you know why things happen the way it does. Quickly grab the map here. Alright, so in order to protect yourself at this altitude, like I said, you have to use oxygen. I don't want to take unnecessary chances. You guys are welcome to experiment with it to see if you will actually get hypoxia on the ground. I'm not sure if laminar actually simulates that while you are on the ground somewhere like in a place like this, whether you have to be in the air for the dimming to happen. But either way, the proper way of protecting yourself is to get the oxygen mask going. Go to departure first. So we're going to use runway 10, we're going to use that one and ILMOX. Then we're going to go to our arrival, localizer 10, ELAKO, that's perfect. We do not have a star according to our planning, so we're happy with that. Alright, and then we are definitely going to step through here and make sure that we do not have any funnies, and that this aircraft and FMC knows what it needs to do when it needs to do it. Right, there's our little arc going on to finals, and there's the airport itself with the go around in front of the actual runway. I'm pretty sure anybody that's experienced it don't want to experience it again. I said, where did you get that experience? Were you on an airport like this?
Yes, it was in South America. It was quite some time before, but it was on high altitude airport, definitely.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so there's a guy that can tell you from absolute experience. You know, don't take chances. Okay, the funny thing, just to mention this to me is really, it is amazing when you look at the size of a place like El Alto and the amount of people that actually live in that area. It is amazing that the guys actually even consider living there. You know, it's something that I don't claim to be able to comprehend, I must be honest. For me, it's weird. Right, so let's have a look here. 64.458. All right, there is a slight problem here. Let's go have a look. Oh, come now. So that will probably be. We're gonna take it in steps. 430. Let's make it 410.
Nico, in
Yes.
version 18,
Yes.
when you fill in the trip fuel, the
Mhm.
FMC is taking that figure as total fuel.
Say again, in 18, if you fill in.
If you fill in the trip fuel
Yeah.
just before the total amount, the FMC thinks that's the total amount of fuel.
Okay, but you should never put the trip fuel in. That's the problem. You need to look at where I'm at. You need to look at your actual there under weights. That is your block fuel. You need to input block fuel, not trip fuel. And you need to put it in the EFB, not in the FMC. So if you put the 55 there, okay, it should work out. The problem that I'm having is I think it's because we are so light with the rounding that is used by what's his name, Simbrief. We're not getting the correct values here, and I just want to get a bit closer. Why is it not changing? It needs to change. It's impossible that it stays the same. 1.4. I didn't have this issue here last night. 58.9. 58.9. So that is correlating. So what is not adding up? Did I pick a wrong aircraft? That's the only other thing I can think of. Damn it, I could have picked a different aircraft. You know what I think I did? I took a 160 seater instead of a 189 seater. That's a bummer.
What you need to do right now?
I'm going to change it to 160 and see if that is the mistake that I made. And then what we're going to do is we're going to just check it.
This is very good chance they are going to see twice
Yeah,
what you're gonna do.
it's not changing. Gonna quickly fill this in again. 800. Okay. It's given completely different values now, so we're going to quickly hello add right. Let's go have a look see. It's not changing here for some reason at all. Yeah, you bring your mic closer, I can't hear you.
Sorry. That's strange because I've got the 160 seater as well. I've got the fuel exactly the block fuel amount on in the FMC.
Yeah. Okay, and yours work. You see.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. Let's quickly go back.
I was away for a minute, but
Terence, yeah, you're right. It could be the hypoxia, but this is completely wrong, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, according to FAA decision, the pilot is fired from the company because he is drunk.
Okay. I'm just resetting it. I don't know. Right, this is a bummer. I don't know why it's not changing at all. Let's do this.
What is it that's not tallying?
Okay, if you look at the Simbrief numbers, and you can check any of my streams, my numbers always correlate. They are always the same. And it's usually one or two things that are wrong. So I'm going to put that on the stream quickly. you will see that at that payload 15.8, which is true, and that fuel load, we should have a zero fuel weight of 57.5. We've got 58.9, which is wrong. That's a 1.4 ton discrepancy that I cannot reconcile, which is strange. I mean, I really don't feel like reloading the whole aircraft, so all I'm going to do...
It's you changed your OFP, you edited it. It's not a different version, is it?
No, yes I did, but the OFP that I have now is the new one. So the
Right,
new
okay.
one should still have the correct calculations. It did change that. What is strange is now no matter what I change on the tablet, it is now not reflecting there. It's not changing. So let me actually use a different value now. Let's go and make that 16. Right? And now see if that will change, because now it needs to change. There, now it's changed. Okay, so let's go back. I'm gonna go for 15.8 again, 15.8 again. This time I'm not gonna touch that. I'm just gonna leave it at 5. Wow, that is amazing. 58.9. Okay, so according to the Zibo, that is the calculation. I'm going to use the Zibo calculations. I'm going to ignore SimBrief, because now that we did make the change, we're going to have to test this. I obviously implicitly believe SimBrief that the calculations he did after I did the edit is correct. It might not be. We changed the... I'll put it on screen again. We changed the packs and we changed the cargo, right? And that gave us a different load compared to the initial documentation. Now, even so, unless, and this is what I'm afraid of now. Let's just go have a look. We can actually check this. If we go to edit the OFP, the only place it could be a problem, you see what happened, there's your problem, there's the problem. When we did the edit, it reverted to the default B737-800 instead of the Zibo Mod. So that is exactly what it is. Thank you for getting me to check this, because literally we need to be there. Okay, we need to have that Zibo, the specific Zibo in place. Let me just reset this. This is so
Ladies
big.
and gentlemen, please skip this fault, because Nico just started learning how he can create OFP in software yesterday.
Okay, thanks, Hakan. You shouldn't have told them. I'm just regenerating it now. Okay, so there's obviously a hell of a discrepancy in the weights and balances between the default 737-800 profile in SimBrief compared to the actual Zibo one. And we're going to see it's going to tally up now and it's going to work. It should work now. So let's just download it now. Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
it works 100%. Yesterday I had the 189 and now I've got the 160.
All right, so let's
okay.
Let's quickly going to go look at that again now. So let's take it to there. All right. Oh hell! Look at the packs. It's changed the packs, but there's no cargo. Oh, that's too much. Here we go again. Edit OFP. It's too much. Now we're on the Zibo. Passengers needs to be... What did we have earlier? 150. What did we have? Sorry, guys.
Yeah, 150 or 160. I'm not sure.
It was
150, I thought.
I think we put it to 140. We had it at 140.
They don't remember, but they are going to use an airplane.
Okay. Don't give away our secrets, man.
Okay.
Alright, 140, and there's the cargo, and we've double checked that. Let's generate this flipping thing. And then we have to download it.
1,000 feet doesn't matter, you.
1,000 feet is the difference between plowing into the ground and skimming over it. So let's have a look. All right, 140, 1.3, 15.9. So let's go. Oh, before we do that, let's just go and reset everything. Okay, now that is perfect the way we want it to be. 15.9. Okay, so this turned out to be one hell of a learning curve now, eh?
I think your next stream ought to be, does Airbus suffer the same problem?
Oh, well, because of where the problem lies, I promise you they'll have the same problem because it came from me not double checking SimBrief. You know, so I hope you guys listened and are learning from my mistakes. Then I won't feel so bad.
Is this Halloween?
Not yet.
Ah, okay, then I will not turn my camera on.
No.
Okay. When is Halloween? Let me check.
End of the month. Right, okay, so let's go check now. Alright, so look at that. Zero fuel weight, 59. Takeoff weight, 64.4. And that extra 100 is for the taxi fuel. So we perfectly okay. Oh man, I don't want to sigh in the mic. You guys blast you like that, but wow. Wow, we did it. Alright, so I'm just going to make this 3 tons for reserves, close enough. Right, then we want to see altitude. Where did this thing put us? 350. 275 at 25. 275 at 25. Right, and 12. Execute. Right, next thing. Okay, now we want maximum power, so we're not going to fiddle with that. We're going to use 101 and get it over with. We're not going to derate that in the slightest. And there we have it. So we have V2, VR, and V1 and 5.25. Perfect. Good stuff. So let's do our trim. Get Linda to put it in place for us.
Trim up.
Thank you so much. And 143.
I see that people.
Please don't see them today. Alright, so Sid, are you with me?
Yes, Nico.
I want to show you something. Zibo pointed this out to me himself, so I know it's true. Okay, you see what our HPA is currently standard. We just spawned in, right? So I'm going to quickly grab Active Sky here, and I'm going to check what it's supposed to be. So it needs to be 1029. So what we do is we set this before we start our engines, and you know why I'm telling you this, because of the other story, right? The text that we had. Okay, now this is what Zibo said. Click your map. Check on your map. You go to that airport if it's 1029, because that value, this value, and this value of the QNH, your altimeter setting 1029, must all match. Okay, and the reason that you get your N1 firing when it's not supposed to is because there is a 400-foot difference in altitude because of an incorrect HPA setting. So if you set it up correctly and you put your auto throttle on and you start your engines, you're not going to have an inadvertent spool up and the engines run away with you. That's how it's done, and that's how you check.
Thanks, Nico.
Pleasure. Right, more training. This is exciting. Right, so let's start setting up the rest. Sorry guys who want to fly with. If you guys want to go, you're welcome to go so long, eh? You're also welcome to wait.
It's very interesting, anyhow.
Alright, excellent. So what I'm going to do is quickly just look at the charts again, get all the relevant information. 101, we want to climb. Last night I forgot about this. I never set my altitude and I never armed LNAV VNAV, so I'm not going to do the same mistake again. Right, we've got both flight directors on. We are aligned, so if we click LNAV VNAV and they light up, we have confirmation that everything is proper and done correctly. Okay. Good. I think for our purposes, let's just double check our ILS and VOR information, make sure that we've got everything set up. 1157 will be the actual VOR, so let's flip that. 1157, that's the Papa Alpha Zulu VOR, and our ILS frequency is 110.3. 110.3. Right, so we have that in place. I think one of the things that is going to hit me right now is my plan in IVEA. I just need to quickly check it and change it. The time might have gone past now. Nope, there seems to be no plan. What's the time now? What will it be? So we can use 17. I'm just going to use 1730. Why not? 350. That's fine. That's fine. Submit the plan. Get rid of that one. Not that one. Close that one. And go to IVEA. Where's IVEA? Connect. Alright, before we get going, let me quickly show you guys the terrain. This is unbelievable. So we're going to take off in that direction, and trust me, we're going to use that valley like you have not seen in a long time. Okay, just got confused. Then where did you get the 960 kilograms from the cargo weight? It's because I moved it. I'll show you. Oh, come on, man. My mouse, I touched the wrong button and then it jumps all over the place. Okay, so what happens is you put in your total. Alright, 15.9. It then does the disbursement and the individual posting of all the weights. So it gives you a certain weight in cargo forward and a certain weight in cargo aft. Now my standard modus operandi is I take the cargo from the front and I take 500 kilograms from the front and I put 500 kilograms in the back. The reason I do that is for my landing weight CG. Do you see my landing weight CG there in green? It says 21.0. We know from experience now that if you do not do this, move the cargo from the front to the back in the 189 seater, you are going to have a stable takeoff CG and a not so stable landing CG. Right? And when me and Twixter talked about that, he convinced me. And I agree with him fully, and that's why I'm doing it. It's better for me to have a stable landing CG, because when I disconnect my autopilot, this aircraft doesn't go nose up or nose down. It's stable. It basically is on a trajectory to hit the pianos or something at the bottom, you know, somewhere on the land touchdown zone. So for me, when I look at this page, I use that calculation quickly and take 500 from the front, put it in the back. There was no 500, it was less than 500. So all I did was I tallied it up, and that's where 969 comes from. And then it gives me a more stable landing weight CG. Alright, the Zibo Mod is the only 737 in any simulation today that actually simulates fuel burn and the movement of the CG. There is no other one that can do that. Alright, so this is just a fancy thing, you know, that makes it more real. That's just how it is. I hope that explains it.
Isn't there a target range of the landing CG?
Well,
between, is it 20 and 23? It's okay.
yes,
And
between,
right in the middle is best, yeah?
That's why we use 21.5, yes. So between 20 and 23, and 21.5 is smack in the middle. Good one, Paul.
Cool. Because sometimes, like you say, there isn't enough cargo to move to get it exactly spot on.
Yeah.
You know.
Exactly. Thank you for that. I'm glad you're with me to help me with things like that. Thunder, no. As far as I can remember, it was a different value because in the 160-seater, what happens is the CG is naturally more forward. All right. I think that's the way it works. You'll have to just test it and come back to me if I made a mistake. But there's a difference in where the actual CG lies, and that will also imply a difference in the value. What is important, and this is the whole trick of it, is once you've done everything, once your FMC is set up, you can literally go and just look at the graph. So if you have an imaginary line coming from top to bottom, the middle would be at 21.5. So if your landing CG is here in the front, you need to move it to the back. If it's in the back, you need to move it to the front to get as close to 21.5. So yeah, you'll just have to check that. Guys, I'm gonna call my pushback. I'm gonna start closing up, getting my APU going for you guys flying with me. Okay.
Check.
Right now, I don't know if you guys have also noticed this while we are in a training mode. SAM, the new SAM, actually opens and closes the front entry. Okay, and there is a good chance because I actually closed it now out of sequence. When we push back, it's gonna open it. So, and that's a SAM issue. Okay, so just be wary of it. If you look here, you'll see that little light will come on. Then you know, oops, you just got to close the door again. So just bear with me and also remember that. Right, so. Alright, we've got the APU now running. I'm going to switch the ASU off. We don't need that. We also don't need that one anymore. And let's quickly move that one up. That one. Okay, that's fine, that's updated. Alright, what we are also now going to do, let's just get this pressurization going properly. Clicked the wrong way. Okay, I'm just holding back a minute. Remember, we also need to have the APU running for 2 minutes before we can really start the engines. So I want to make sure that the pressurization is coming up, everything is open, we are equalized. So at this point in time, we can actually click over here and switch the oxygen mask off, because now we're getting our oxygen through the normal pressurization system. Okay, let us quickly get the seat belts on as well. Let them do their story. Okay, beacon on. You see opening, look there. Just close it. I just happened to see it a day or 3 ago, so you guys must just be careful with that. Right, okay, so that's done. Trisha's done. Before start procedure. The other thing that we have noticed is
walk around completed.
I'll tell you now.
Before start procedure.
As good as Linda is during the takeoff, and I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but at the landing, and it's probably because we're landing above 10,000 feet. She's useless. She just doesn't listen. She doesn't do anything. So we might have to contact our design and ask him to fix that for us, because effectively I have to do everything after the landing. She just doesn't do anything.
Completed.
Right, we don't have ATC right now, gentlemen, do we? Doesn't look
I'll
like
check.
it. Doesn't
I have
show.
a quick question.
Yes.
Right, okay, with the door shut now and
Hmm.
the plane pressurizing itself,
Hmm.
shouldn't the cabin altitude be going down from 10,000 to like a comfortable altitude?
Well, if we look at where it's at now, that's a good question, because it is at this point in time, it is at 10,000. That is a good question. Let's
And
also
the dial below should be coming down,
down.
shouldn't it?
It should be, but
I
now,
think.
yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. We'll have to query that. Let me just also get my landing altitude right, because we didn't do that. So let's just quickly get there. That's 13,000 something. Look, the valve is still in the open position. Okay, we don't see movement there, but it is still open. So that is a good question. We also only have the APU, so it's only number 1 that's doing anything. Number 2 isn't doing anything. Maybe this, what you're talking about, will happen the moment both engines are running. You see, that will probably be the next stage in the evolution of this thing. Let's have a look. Let's keep our eyes on it. Good question, Paul.
Thanks.
13,300. Okay, so we know that is also done. Right, so what we're going to do is check the traffic. Guys, I'm not going to type in automatic unicom right now. All I'm going to do is just go. Right, so before start procedure. I don't know if we did that. I think we actually did that.
Walk around completed.
Yes, we did. Sorry guys,
Before
apologies.
start procedure.
So, let's go.
Starting pushback, engine area is clear, you may start engines.
Do you have any problem with the Linda about CRM?
Belinda, about
Before start
what,
procedure
Tarkar?
completed.
CRM.
CRM, yes. Yeah, she doesn't use our SOPs. So all I do is I ask her to do the things I want her to do, and I ignore the rest. Give me a second. Start number 2 engine. Hakan, they brought out a new version of Linda a few days ago. That one has got a lot of automation built in, and it drove me insane. I actually went back to the previous version. This is not the latest version of Linda, because she interferes with me, so I just went back one version.
Okay.
and 2.
Operation complete, set parking brake.
There's Owen
I
doing his thing.
feel
Mhm.
Uncle John will be here soon.
That's possible. Start number 1 engine.
Starting number 1 engine.
Right, you'll also notice that it doesn't actually go to 25N1 before she says 25N1, and it's also all this air pressure differences. So once we hit 24, we're gonna ignite.
Connected and bypass pin has been removed, hands in along the left.
Effectively, just to tell you that as well, from 23N1 you can lift your leave it already. It's better to wait a little while, but from 23 you won't have a hot start. If Zibo starts bringing in that code and we start blowing engines, we'll have a nice laugh again.
Engine start procedure complete at.
Right, so we're going on the engines with a bus, but we're keeping APU running. And just to recap, I'll just flash it on the screen every now and then. You see after start checklist above 10,000, we leave it on. We're not going to switch that off. Okay, what we are going to do is just run through all the normal things as usual. We're going to switch that off. Okay, very important. This is what I mentioned earlier as well, and I'm not on the right screen. You cannot have bleed air 1 and APU bleed on. You see there's a little line just to remind you those two things are connected. Okay, the moment you have both of them on, you get that error. It tells you deal bleed.
Let's make fun with the passengers. Let's turn it off.
Shane, no, we'll leave it. So basically what's going to happen now, once you get this warning, if I increase my thrust now to anything significant more than idle thrust, it's going to physically push back that pressure into the APU and it's going to blow it. And this is why when you do that C procedure, you start top right, that's the first one, second one, third one, you come down in the C form, next one, and when you undo it, you start at the bottom, because if you start in the same sequence again, guess what, you're going to have both of them running at freaking 101 N1 on the engines, pushing all that air back into the APU, and you're just going to go and you're going to have a couple of $1 million worth of problems to explain to the boss. So don't do that. That's the reason behind it. Okay, hope that helps. 1, 2, 3, and let's quickly check. Perfect, we have control going. We were talking about rain and the lack of rain in this area. Guys, I'm starting to taxi, by the way. I see here on Active Sky there is a bit of rain in the area. Can you believe it, eh? We just talked about it last night, about it being dry.
Taxi lights on.
Right, guys, I'm taxiing. You guys can see it's very sluggish. This aircraft just doesn't perform like usual. You want to go first, Owen? No response. I'll take that as a no. My coffee is almost finished. I talk too much. I hope you guys enjoy all this rambling. You guys must tell me if you have questions. You know, don't be shy, and if we need to explain something. Okay, I am 48 years old, born in the year of our Lord 1973. How old are you?
I'm 38 years old. So
okay.
You asked, you said, if you have any question, I have asked.
That's fine. That's fine. You may. Hello, Deepola. Good evening or morning, wherever you are residing. Before takeoff procedure.
Before takeoff procedure.
So Nico, if I follow the regular checklist, then I should be fine, you think?
If you follow my regular checklist and you go to
Yeah,
the
yeah, that one.
specific, you go to the specific headings and things that I've pointed out, yes, you'll be fine. Perfect. I'll put it up, as I say, every now and then to remind us. The next portion is coming up just now because we need to do the C thing. So I'm going to scroll down to that page and actually have it on screen so you guys can have a look-see while I'm doing it. So if you ever refer back to the video, you know, you'll have both at your disposal. Yes, in South Africa it is currently 20 minutes past 7 p.m. So it's getting to the point where the sun takes longer to go down, but it seems pretty freaking dark right now.
Even 2021.
Yeah. Hello, Jibs.
Hey, Nico, do you remember who it was that was telling us that in real life they had to wait at an airport with a density altitude problem until night so that the
I know about it.
The temperature would cool off to
Yes.
give them the performance to actually get off the runway.
Yes. Jibs, I don't know, but I've heard similar stories. Jibs, give me a second. I'll explain now. It's not the speed brake. It is the pressurization. We are above 10,000 feet at this airport, and that is why it's lit up. So just bear with me. Paul, just on that note, if you take off from Lanseria Airport here, next to my house down the road here, during summer times, a lot of the times the density altitude is so bad the 738 cannot take off with baggage. So what they do is they put all the packs on, you know, how many ever that they can fit in that runway length, okay, at that density altitude, and then they literally put the baggage in a car or a, you know, some truck. They take it to OR Tombo and they fly it down on a different flight because of the density altitude. And there at night as well, there's no problem, but during the day it's an issue. Okay, Jibs, you came in a bit late. The whole purpose behind the stream is to explain to the guys how the high altitude and density altitude works. So just bear with me. We've got a cabin altitude warning because we are above 10,000, like I said, and we are, you know, at the point where we're now going to do this checklist thing. So I'm going to quickly get this up again. Yes, cabin pressure is a problem. So what happens now is if we look at the additional runway entry procedure, you're going to do exactly as a normal flight, but now at this point, you need to now close your isolation valve. Then what you need to do is you need to close your engine bleed number 1 and you need to go to APU bleed. And then you need to close your engine number 2 bleed as well. Right, and now you're going to see there's now a whole pressure difference happening here. So what we've just done by closing the isolation valve, switching these off and that one on, we are now using the APU for cabin pressure and to give the oxygen to the guys at the back. Alright, because we've switched off the bleed switches, we are now giving max power available to the engines. We're not siphoning off power to get the pressurization system going. All right, and this is exactly what is done there. So right back auto, isolation valve close, left back auto, engine bleed 1 off, then you go for the APU bleed. And remember now what I told you, those two cannot be on at the same time. At more than idle power you'll blow it, so don't do it. Okay, and this is exactly what we're trying to get you guys to do. And then at this point in time where we are at now, we can take off as normal. Alright, so let's go.
Stabilized.
Alright, another thing that we have learned the hard way is, again, because of altitude and all the things that we've been talking about so much this evening, is when you get into position, don't let go of the brakes and then spool up and think you're going to make it. Hold onto your brakes a while, spool up nicely, get your toga going, and I would say after about 80% N1 is in play, then you let go, because this runway is 11,155 feet long, and I promise you it's very short, very short. for what we have now, it is very short. So I'm just double checking. We have flaps 5, RTO is set, everything else is in place. So I'm going to spool up now.
Stabilized.
There's Toga. Right, there we go at 85 N1. I let go of the brakes, and there we're going. And you'll see now how sluggish this aircraft is to actually get anywhere.
Takeoff thrust set.
And it's really quite light, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, relatively.
80 knots.
As if you're trying to move a 400-ton train.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Bjorn.
Even on the taxiway, it's hard.
Yeah. My wife is shouting to make it go a bit quieter. It's making a racket. Gear up.
Gear up.
Okay, so the magic number is 400 feet for the command A. I just have to follow that flight director, and there we go. Alright, so VNav is kicked out. I've just clicked on it again so that it can actually do the management for us. And let's lift our seat a little bit so we can see. See, the guys were clever to use that valley a little bit here in the departure.
Runway turn off, lights off.
What's happening with the pressurization now, Nico?
Oh yes, let's have a look. Okay, it is telling me not much because it's not changing, but it did change a little bit. That was on exactly 10,000 if we, use it like a watch. It's not changing.
Interesting.
Okay, next step. Let's check it again after we've gone through this whole procedure again, Paul, because we didn't check it while we were on engine power. Engine power, remember, is not influencing it. The bleeds are off.
Yeah.
Okay. Right, so we've gone to flaps up, which means that we can now go and reverse this, and we start at the bottom. That's on, off, on, and open. And there you go, there is movement. There you can see now it's changing. See, the moment it went on to engine power, things started to change.
Yep.
Alright, once this is done, we can now switch the APU off. So there you can immediately see there is a pressure difference happening there. It's busy lowering, exactly as you expected, Paul.
Great.
And now we just wait it out. Beyond, technically it should start above 10,000 feet, but I think in the Zibo and stuff that I've experienced, I think from 15,000 feet upwards it's more prevalent. But the issue that we discussed earlier is I'm not sure to what extent it's modeled to actually happen when you are still on the ground. So I don't want to skip all the steps that should be done just for the sake of a simulation. And for the same token, we did all the procedures that was necessary to make it a valid simulation, so. Akbar, yes, but then it wouldn't have been as exciting. You can obviously use flaps 10 and in extreme situations flaps 15, but flaps 10 would have been a little bit better, I suppose, in this situation. But at the same time, I also want you guys to experience the lag and the short runway, so that you guys can see what you will be up against if you actually come and fly a route like this. You see, and I mean, you can see this thing is so sluggish. It is not performing the way you know it performs.
I remember when I was playing around at Paro,
Mm-hmm.
trying the takeoff with various flap settings.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know whether it was an effect of the altitude or not, but higher than 5, I noticed no difference in
Approaching
performance.
transition.
So I don't know whether the graphs of lift versus drag do anything different at altitude, but it didn't seem to do me much good.
Mm,
Very
that's something.
complicated stuff.
Yes, that's something we can check. My logic and experience says it should, but now that you've mentioned it, I don't know. Now we have to look. Terence and what he's saying on stream there about the engine out situation, that is exactly
Transition
also
altitude.
one of the reasons why when we go below 18,000 feet or below transition altitude, we are going to do the same thing during the approach, because the last thing you want at an altitude density altitude of 16,500 feet for this approach that we're going to do at this airport is not to have enough power to do a go around, and God help you if you have an engine out, then you're going to be in trouble. You're going to have to probably plant it or something. But the fact of the matter is, all of these things, and there you go, it's equalized. You guys can see the pressurization problem has now gone away, so it has equalized much better. So it seems to still be dropping the interior cabin pressure a little bit, so we'll keep an eye on it as we go. But yeah, all of these things are things that you need to take into consideration. According to the FCOM that I used to create the checklist with, they say, I mean, here it is, let me show you, and I faithfully copied it, right? So it says here, after takeoff, no, that's not the one, now we want the descent one, there we go. So it says here, passing transition altitude, that came first in the FCOM. The problem that I picked up, and I'm being honest when I say this, we've done a lot of flights into airports here in Peru and in this area, where it could be because I wasn't experienced enough, so I didn't have enough time and I had to buy myself time, that we started using the 18,000 foot mark. Because look, if you look at what's going to happen now during the descent, you're going to be busy, and the last thing you want to do is to run out of time and forget to do these kind of things, because it's important, right? So technically, Mac, I think he knows the exact value. You can start your APU under 24,000 feet. So you anywhere from 24,000 feet and lower, you can start preparing the APU, getting everything in place. Okay, but the FCOM itself said passing transition altitude. Obviously, landing lights we now know is at 10,000 feet, so that gives a valid idea to your comment there. And then it says to start the APU. But if you are new to this, if this is something that you're not familiar with, rather buy yourself extra time and just do it a little bit sooner. Okay, I hope that answers it. So again, my famous words, it's not about right and wrong, it's about what you can handle and what you can't handle. It's about who you are, who I am, what we can handle in between, you know. It's
what are we living for?
Yeah.
As far as I remember about the APU, it can provide the electricity right up to the aircraft's ceiling. It can do the air at 17,000 or below, and it can do both below 10,000 feet. Okay,
well, that's excellent.
Or 15,000 if you're on the ground.
Yeah, that's excellent knowledge there. Yeah, if that's so, then that makes sense.
Yeah, Paul's right. And
okay.
I don't think there's any restriction.
Mac, you died again. Get your mic.
I don't think there's any restriction on the altitude as to when you can start the APU either.
Yeah, but when we did the engine out in the windmilling, there was a restriction of 24,000 feet. So even if the APU is running, it's not going to be sufficient at certain altitudes to do certain things.
Yeah, well, you can't start the engines from the APU as cross-feed air
Yeah.
above 20-foot depths. In fact, you can't even do it then. It's just to get it going for electrical power so that you can windmill start.
Yeah. So yeah, it gets hairy. That's what we're saying. You know, at the end of the day, I am a very conservative type of person in anything I do. I don't like to wait for the width of a hair, you know, to be between me and my demise. So if it means I started a little bit earlier, I'd rather start it earlier, as long as it doesn't break, you know. But that's just me.
And imagine trying to remember all this when the real buzzers are going off in the cockpit.
Exactly, exactly. Oh,
Blimey.
no, it'll kill you if you're not ready for it.
It was interesting to note on your training checklist there, Nico. It's a short field as well as high altitude.
Yeah, it's the same procedure.
It's where you need extra grunt. But I seem to remember that you were at an airfield in Iceland at one time.
Yeah.
And you were looking at the length of the runway and you thought, well, there's no chance I can get the plane off this length of runway. But when you check the density altitude,
yes,
because it was so damn cold,
yeah,
you were something like 1,500 feet below sea level, so the air was thicker, so you got off successfully.
exactly.
Which I thought was fabulous.
Brilliant. Exactly the opposite of what we had here. You've got a hell of a memory. I was thinking of that incident this morning. I was thinking about it. It should be on my YouTube channel here somewhere, but it's going to take a minute to find. Yes, but I remember that.
What you need, Nico, is a volunteer to watch them all and put an index to them for all the useful stuff.
Yeah.
Blimey, that would be a job. How many vids have you got now?
Well, I don't know. I really don't
Hundreds.
know. Yeah. If I go to my studio, let's have a look. See, you've now opened a can of worms here. Let's go check.
Well, Paul, couldn't you volunteer while you're waiting for the next Zibo update?
Hang on, we're live on air. I can't swear at you, can I?
No. Let's have a look. See. Where would I see that kind of information? Yeah, content. Well, I can tell you I've got 76 pages. I can't tell you how many videos are on a page. Let's see if we can get that number at least.
For what?
The amount of videos that I've got on my YouTube channel. I'm trying to get a sum total, but it seems to be difficult. More difficult than I thought. Oh, and you know what? It does not even put the live videos in there. If you add the live videos, there is 1,042 pages, and there seems to be quite a lot on each page. So I don't know. We'll have to find out where to go and check. Oh, I don't know. Hang on a second. Maybe we go back to the actual channel. Hold on. We then go to videos. Let's see. Nope. I'm gonna find out how to do that. There's got to be a way. I'm pretty sure I figured it out once before. I just can't remember how to do it now. When we'll talk about it again. Oh, I can tell you, I've got 2,910 subscribers. That I can see. There's a big value on that one here in my face. Nah, I'll have to actually probably Google how to find out how to get that. Hi Rory. Yeah.
Have you seen Apple's new polishing cloth?
I
see. Okay.
Thousand to level off.
1,000 to go.
Akbar. I have absolutely no idea because look at my FPS. My FPS hardly moves. So I don't know. Clouds, very definitely clouds are a killer in X-Plane. Cloud textures, cloud density, cloud layers. Scenery is a problem. I don't know, because if you have a virgin vanilla Zibo mod, there shouldn't be any reason why it would fall. So my first instinct would be disable all the plugins, disable the weather, go fly, see if that makes any difference. Go fly in a specific area and stick to that area. You know, try and figure it out. Use a process of elimination to try and figure it out. Don't know otherwise. I really don't know.
Nico.
Yes.
Let's prepare that approach.
Yes, let's start here with our forecast. Let's see, forecast wise.
It's going to take some time, I think.
Yeah, let's do this. So we're going to look at density, altitude, the ISA altitude first. Sorry. So temperature wise, did it move? Yes, it did by 1 degree. Let's get that on screen quickly. So we've got 30 there. We've got 30, and we have in my simulator 1037 for the QNH.
Yeah.
200, 150, and we cannot go lower because the airport is higher than that. So let's quickly get back to SimBrief.
According to your videos page, Nico, you've got 573 videos you report.
Okay. Tom, I don't have any problem with X-Raz. You can hear it in my stream. It goes. I've got the latest SAM. Everything is fine. The only thing that caught me with the latest SAM was this story about the jetway actually opening and closing your main door. You know, that's the only thing that I noticed that was a bit funny. Other than that, no issues. Not on my side. Anybody else on stream that have got issues, you're welcome to mention that. Right, so let's get to edge. We want to get 278 at 13 and 257 at 6. 6. Transition level. Here's another one of those answers you were asking about, Steve. What we were talking about the 10,000 feet and whatever. Look here, transition level is 19,000. So if you go according to the checklist, once you hit the transition level, you need to get your APU going. Just FYI, you know, use it, don't use it, those kind of things. Tom, update your C++. Make sure you update the 64-bit version because the Zibo mod is in need of that. The other thing is, have a quick look over here. If you have X-Raz installed, you can actually turn it on and off with this switch. Okay, so make sure that that switch is actually operational, otherwise X-rays will also not work. Right, so let's quickly go back here. Yes, we've done that, no problem. Then if we look at the value of our fuel, it's 2.9, 3.9. We need to drop 1 ton, so we're going to be at 61.9 when we land, which means we've got that as our reference. Then, right, let's get that ILS thingy on the screen here. I need to reset this zoomed in thing again. Alright, we said we need to have 110.3, so we're going to put that in play, 110.3. That's exactly what we have there. Then we need to get our course heading, 100. It's an easy one. Sorry guys, let's move it. 100 there, 100 there. Right. Now we need to descend. Intercept altitude's 15,000. 15,000. We're going to use auto brake 3. Right. Check these tops of these mountains, guys. Look here on this end here. I mean, look, that terrain radar is still talking to us, and we're at 35,000 feet. It's crazy. The ground here is very high. Alright, then what we want to do is we need to set up the ILS decision altitude 13,331. Just kill that one quickly. Rory, with this new cloud system that we've got running in X-Plane, I must tell you one thing, my FPS hardly ever drops. I saw earlier in the stream, 10-20 minutes ago, it dropped like 5-6 FPS, but it comes back so quickly. It's not a long-term thing. What's this thing doing? 13,333, and that's why I know clouds is probably, they are the biggest killer of FPS. Eh? Clouds, weather, eh? Almost there. 13,331. That's it. Alright, let's just double check. 1037. There we go. On standby. Auto brake, speed brake. These people are probably mad already. Okay. Owen?
Yeah?
We're gonna come in via that one, ELAKO, as far as I know. Let's just double check it. ELAKO, yeah, that's it. Yep. So we're gonna come in via ELAKO. We're gonna do that little arc over there, go on to finals. We have to be at 15,000, so be ready for that one. Okay, one of two things will happen. Either the glide slope will work or the glide slope will not work. If glide slope does not work, what I'll do is I'll dial down on my 15,000 and I will try and match, I would say, 13,400, and I will allow LNAV and VNAV to basically take me down to 13,400 if the ILS doesn't work, whereafter I'll disconnect and fly by hand. That's about my plan. That's what I've got in mind, and hopefully we have a good landing with the density altitude being so high. So just to remind you guys, the density altitude was, let's just update it, there we go, 16,232 is what the aircraft is going to feel. It's what it's going to experience during the landing phase, you know, so we're gonna have it.
Okay, now Nico, check your arrival in the FMS.
Yes, sir. Let's
that
go
was
there.
The problem, wasn't it?
Yes, because we planned on using RNAV, and this guy put us onto the ILS. So there we go, there we go. Mine is proper glide slope. Look at that, because
Where did you get that?
let me go to your departure page. Look at this. This is interesting. I did not switch it off. Okay. Which means that the Zibo mod automatically detected that there is no glide slope. That's why we don't get the glide slope, guys. That's the answer. That's why we don't get the glide slope. Why we didn't get it yesterday. Because it switched off. The question now is, if we switch it on, are we cheating?
Nico.
Yeah.
I'm looking at your stream.
Yeah.
I can't get that picture you have.
Why? Why? Click on arrival depart. Wait, let me look at your stream quickly. See if we can help you. Okay, click on the arrival second button top right. Okay, look for lock Y10. Lock Y10.
I got it. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, okay. Alright, so the question now is there really not a glide slope? Because according to the chart there definitely is. Why is this thing switched off? I don't know. I'm going to switch my glide slope on. Because last night I didn't have a glide slope. It was there, and the next moment it was gone, and after landing it was back. Alright, so we're going to play with it. I switch my glide slope back on, because if it's if it's an ILS, it must have a glide slope. So let's have a look, see what happens. Either or, if it doesn't work, I'll take over, fly by hand, get over it. Yeah, must be honest, you need a bit of a beefy computer to really enjoy the flight sim all day. It's just one of those things, unfortunately. Let me show you my PC specs, then you'll see what I'm flying with here. You see, but I'm not that familiar with the area. So there are a couple of questions now regarding the Zibo code that I have in my mind that I'll have to ask Zibo. And then there is the matter of the charts. I mean, if we go to Edge again, look at the chart. It clearly gives a localizer. It gives the approach course. It clearly talks there about ILS, which means that it's got a glide slope and a localizer, and then it talks about the localizer being localizer only with glide slope being out. Now in the parameter that we just set there, it basically assumes that the glide slope is out. So I've switched it on, and we'll have a look, see if it has any value. In actual fact, what I am going to do is I'm just going to keep it on that page. We'll simplify it, and then look, it's off again. It switches itself off. Doesn't want to have the glide slope on. Check yours again when you're ready. That is flippin' interesting. So in that case, what I am going to do is I'm going to actually prepare already. I'm going to go to 13,400. Okay, so we will use VNAV as far as possible. But this is now an interesting question.
So it would be VNAV and Vorlock then for that situation?
Basically. Yeah, so you've got the localizer, it will track that, but VNAV will have to do the rest. We're going to use that.
How much does it put the minimums up by?
It's supposed to be 40 feet, 40 or 50 feet.
Oh, and then probably a bit for good luck, isn't there?
Yeah.
Non-precision.
Yeah, so let's just... That's a good amount, 40. I'm not going to put more. We'll keep it at that. At the end of the day, the MCP will not allow us to descend below 13.4. So that gives us an extra margin of another 29 feet, basically. So, you know. Exactly, but we have to work through all of it to see where the thing is happening, because the Zibo reads the data from Navigraph and it could be a Navigraph data issue then. So there are a couple of things. We'll investigate. Thanks, Patty. We'll check what happens and fix it, whatever it is. Hakan, when did you move to France? Yes, if there is a glide slope, it should have been used. So, it could be scenery. It could be the way the Zibo code interprets something, either scenery or explain. It could be Navigraph data. It could literally be a couple of things now, and we'll have to analyze. I think that's the best answer to give. So now we don't point fingers at anyone or anything, and we just say, let's investigate.
It switches off, Nico.
Yeah, mine also did. So Owen, I've set my MCP to 3,400 and my decision altitude 13,371. End of story. We'll fly it by hand from 13.4. Because RA is only used for Cat 2 and 3, not for Cat 1s. There is no indication on the chart that says RA can be used. We can, because we are in a simulator. We can put the RA to 220, because in brackets it tells you the above ground altitude at 13,331 is 220 feet. We can, but then it's procedurally incorrect. Exactly what I said, yes. It's in brackets, but procedurally it will be incorrect. Right, I'm almost at the top of descent, guys.
Yeah, be right back.
Is this arrival airport the one that's on a plateau?
Yes.
As well?
Yes.
In which case your radio altimeter
is going to mess you around a little
isn't
bit.
very reliable, is it?
Yeah, because it's going to be a huge value and all of a sudden shrink. Whack! So there isn't a long period of time in which it's going to adjust and give you correct readings.
We sometimes say in Turkey, don't trust even your father.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm at AMS. That could also be that. You know, with the way the Zibo is made and the ultra realism that is put in there, and you know, it's very possible.
There are some special requests from the passenger Bjorn. So what can I do for you, sir?
I think what you need to do is take him some more other, you know, beverage with his chicken wings and tell him we'll be on the ground shortly.
Someone needs to tell him Due to the coronavirus issue, servicing is not allowed in airplane.
No, it's self-service. It's self-service now. You have to wait until the first guy gets up, does his thing, sit down, and then you may get up and go. That's actually probably better. Yeah.
Okay. Dangerous.
Very dangerous. And I've just noticed, look at my squirrely here.
Yeah, I've changed that, Nico.
Let's go look, see what we can do. It's that now my English is leaving me again. It's that silly intersection anyway, so
Can you take that out and see what happens?
yeah, give me a second. It's because of this thing there. Yeah, see, once you take out the actual transition now, we can do this. So what will actually be better is if we actually
Your
just do
aftershave
this.
smells divine.
That's a much better angle, so there we go. Okay, we've changed the profile a little bit, so we just have to break it.
Yeah, I've got the same, Nico.
Yeah. This is why I always say, as the pilot in command, you have to do what you have to do. There's no point in arguing about automation failing and not working and all these other things, and what I am in fact going to do.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Uncle John is here as a boss. Be careful about this point, okay?
Thank you, Hakan. Hello, Uncle John.
Hello, Mr. Uncle John. Welcome to club.
Just this second working up.
That's fine, Uncle John.
Dead to the road.
There's this error we had last night as well. This is not right. This is something that needs to be addressed. Where's that button? I'm not supposed to give an altitude on right now.
I have been asked a question by Uncle John today, Mr. Nico. It was related to Turkish. So if you send me the message, I can translate for you on Facebook. Email.
Okay, no, it's fine. I told the guy, I actually used Google Translate and I wrote him a very nice Turkish message. So
Yes,
he must
exactly.
come back to us and tell us when he's ready. And just for the hell of it, look guys, there is the glide slope. Okay, so the Enigma goes deeper than what we are speculating. There goes the glide slope.
So 18,000 the APU, eh?
Yes, in actual fact, I am going to kick it in now already.
Don't worry, this voice coming from Uncle John, we got used to it. You are going to do that as well.
Transition level.
There we go. There's transition level. Sorry?
You're on YouTube, Nico?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Uncle John, when you come to here, I feel myself a little bit happier. I don't know why.
Oh, bless you. Bless you.
Well, we are so fast, Owen. We are so fast. This is going to be a missed approach, I'm telling you now. Unless a miracle happens now. Maybe a bit more of an S. Rum. We might make it. We might make it. There we go. Gear down. Flaps 1. Right, so that is now on. Now we need to run this thing. We go off, on, off and on, and there we go. So that takes care of that. Wow, Oh, and I had to zigzag quite a bit, yeah. I've still got the glide slope.
1000 to level off.
What was that?
That was you. You're going to the Blue Oyster again.
No, it was not me.
Okay.
Flaps
Thought you're
5
going
set.
to the Blue Oyster again. Well, I've armed my approach.
Localizer capture.
We definitely have a glide slope anticipation queue. Glide slope is being captured. The localizer was captured. Sorry, Uncle John?
It's the same route as last night.
Yes, sir.
And there is an ILS, is there?
Well, I don't know yet. It doesn't really look like it. It seems to be there, but there's another thing which I'll have to show you if you give me a second. I'm going to slow down completely. If you go to the arrival page and you go look at that localizer, you'll see the glide slope is switched off. We've tried to switch it on. The Zibo Mod switches it off automatically. So I'm not sure if the glide slope will actually work. We're currently on VNAV, so we're going down on VNAV. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
Okay, I'm on finals. So yes, Steve, you're right. Aviate and sorry, navigate, communicate, aviate. We all know that story. Fantastic, good advice.
Ladies and gentlemen, due to the commercial issues, we are going to stop streaming right now. If you want to watch landing, you need to donate to Nico's channel for your information.
Yeah, Archon will be lenient tonight. Uncle John, that anticipation queue doesn't seem to be moving, and now, just as I say it, now I can see it's coming down. So we'll have to see if it actually grabs onto it. What I can see is we've got VOR lock and VNAV path with a glide path coming in. So this is like this is using partially Ian.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Look, it's coming in there. So it is using glide path, not glide slope. So it's using Ian for that side, and it's using the VOR lock for the localizer for that side.
Oh, it's activated.
Yeah, looks like it. Okay, so that's another challenge on top of a challenge, right?
Seems so.
Yeah, Jibs, that's why I started saying it and then I got confused, but thank you so much. It is aviate, navigate, communicate. You are correct. That is the correct way of saying it. Yes, you're right. That's why I started saying activate and then I changed it because I was reading what Steve was saying. Same message, just a different sequence, but it's, it is something we've been drilled into. Right, my biggest problem that I see right now.
Look high. You look high.
Exactly. So I'll break away if I have to, but we'll see how close we get.
Taxi lights on.
It's a very long runway, though, isn't it?
But it's a very high runway too. Remember, now we're at 16,000 feet in Sudan.
Yeah, I was just wondering whether the length made you look higher than you actually were.
Might do, Paul.
Possibly.
Yeah, look, there's the deck coming and there's the decision altitude and all those things. No, we are definitely high, guys. We're definitely high.
Uncle John, unfortunately, I need to say that we need more brewer pilots here. So, unacceptable. Still same thing every year.
Hey, you guys, give me a chance. There we go. Okay, you definitely come in a bit high. I had to really push the nose there.
Oh, 110 feet per minute. Good.
Nice one, Nico.
Yeah, thank you so much. Exactly. We're not going to split hairs because of the sequence, but I think the message is clear enough that you need to take responsibility and do something constructive before you worry about communication. Before you worry about anything that is not really required.
Take 001, please vacate runway with the left taxiway.
Okay, Owen, I'm off the runway. Let's get you in now as well.
Oh yeah, I took a detour to give you some more time, so.
Thank you so much. Right, Uncle John, Uncle John, Uncle John.
Yes, sir. I'm trying to grab a coffee.
Yeah, no, but you're blasting us this side. Can you quickly go to push to talk, please?
Yes, will do, sir.
Thank you, no problem. Right, so now, sorry, now I'm doing it the wrong way. See, in the heat of the moment. So now we switch that one off, that one on, off, on, and open. There we go. Now we don't blow anything up. Right, Linda's useless for us. I'm not even going to try and ask her to do something. So let's just get everything there back in play. We don't have to worry, that's been on auto, so that's fine.
Can I close APU right now?
No.
No?
No,
Flaps
we're
up.
going to use it just now.
And set.
You can open the door, you are in land.
No. And then you're going to get some clever guy jumping out, breaking his leg and suing me for that. They can
It
win.
is his responsibility.
In this new dangerous world we live in, they're going to find a way to make it my responsibility.
I see. You are afraid of it.
Yes. I'm afraid of it, yes.
But you don't need to be worried because I know someone. For
Okay.
example, I know Uncle John.
Okay, right.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this airport there is no ground handling support. Unfortunately, you need to jump from the airplane when we are at the gate.
I'll purposely go stop at the jetway now, just to save them and their legs.
Are you back up and running
Stay
flying
wise.
now, Arkan?
You need to say again, sir. Your English is pretty native, therefore it is not easy to understand from my side. You know, I don't need to go into detail about that. Could you please say again?
Accept my apologies. I'm still learning English. I'll continue to try and improve. My question was, are you now back up flying Zibo again?
It is totally related to Nico's time. It depends on Nico. If he invites me to South Africa, maybe I can. Why not?
Excellent.
So you haven't set up your
Did you see? He underestimated me.
no, doesn't matter. Arkan, did you not set up your PC then yet?
Not yet.
Okay. Alright, okay. Terence, the link to the scenery is in the notes below the video. If you click on show more, I always have all the detail in there, so you can watch any of my streams and stuff and go grab the same scenery that I use. So the link is in there. It's definitely add-on scenery for both airports, and then obviously I made all the orthos, ortho for XP tiles and stuff. So look at this. I mean, look at the city. This is a tremendous amount of people living here at this altitude. It's amazing. Someone said, I won't name names, someone said yesterday they must have very strong lungs. Shoo. Okay. Anyway, okay, that is done. Let's get rid of the terrain radar. Yeah. Okay, and you see the jetway opened my door again. If I had opened it earlier, it would have closed it. That's crazy. I have to get used to that now.
Irvin is landing.
Yeah, you see, this is what we were talking about earlier. Look at this. If you had radio altimeter and you came in from this side, you wouldn't have a lot of time to adjust to the right values. It's going to be fairly short time. So, anyway. Whoa, you're coming in low there. And he's using default scenery, that's why he's not on the same runway as us. If I look at his stream, he's pretty much on the center line now. Can you believe it? Well, I'm glad we caught that on camera. Huh! Welcome, Owen. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope this gave you a little bit of insight into other things, other than normal procedures, other than normal way of doing things, and all kinds of weirdness. And I hope you're going to enjoy it if you try it, because I believe a couple of you would really like to go try this. So feel free, go enjoy it. Just make sure that you understand, everything that I tried to explain. And get my training checklist, because that's where all the keys are. Everything is given to you there. You just need to find the right place to read the right procedure. That's all. Is there any questions or anything else that you feel you'd like to discuss? Are you
What
guys
time
on?
is it?
It's now 8:20 South African time. Are you guys on Discord happy? Anything else I need to add that you think I should?
Not that I can think of.
Right. Okay. Then we're pretty much done, guys. And I hope to see you tomorrow morning. I have not heard back from Mr. Tai. So I'm not sure what's going to happen tomorrow morning, but I might have a surprise. If there is, there is. If there isn't, there isn't. We'll take it as it comes.
When are you going to be here tomorrow morning, sir?
700 Zulu, sir.
700 Zulu.
Yeah. Thank you, Terence. Thank you, everybody, for watching and sticking around. We'll talk to you guys in the morning. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Nico.
Pleasure.
Bye.
Bye, Nico.
Bye.